massive scandal breaks out in college football. Sherrone Moore fired from the Michigan Wolverines. And a grandfather takes over the Indianapolis Colts in a wide-open race to the Super Bowl. It is Will Cain Country, normally streaming live every Monday through Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time at the Will Cain Country YouTube channel, the Will Cain Facebook page, but always available by following us on Spotify or on Apple. That's where you get this Friday edition of Cain on Sports. From New York City with Tinfoil Pat and Two-A-Days Dan, it is a Flannel Friday.
Yeah.
Sponsored, as always, by Buffalo Jackson, our favorite flannel company. Here we are today, boys, rocking our flannels, and in an embarrassing turn of events, it turns out Tinfoil Pat and I are wearing the exact same shirt.
Yeah. Yes, we are. I almost had the same issue yesterday with Dan with the red and black. But
you guys look great. I mean, it's a great shirt. It's a great choice. I'm not surprised you both wore it.
You said that you notified everybody that you were wearing blue. Yep. I did not get that notification. Not sure I would have seen it, even if I got it. But here we are.
It.
The exact same blue check, which, by the way, I like. This is. I told you, Dan, that the one you were wearing previously is one of my favorites. This might be one of my favorites right here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Blue. It's beautiful.
Matches your eyes.
Sweet.
That was lame.
Okay, boys, let's get into it because while the world seems to be captivated by scandal and crime, from Luigi Mangione to Tyler Robinson, the world of sports has not been immune. And in a shocking turn of events, on Wednesday night, the Michigan Wolverines fire head coach Sherrone Moore. Now, Two-A-Days, Tinfoil, I want you guys to walk me through because it is somewhat confusing. It's a wild series of events. This isn't a normal coach firing. This is an event that happened on the, not even on the heels, not even on the back end, but amidst a exploding scandal. So look, tell me if I've got this right. So it's discovered that Sherrone Moore is having an affair with a staffer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This is the allegations right now in the
These
reporting.
allegations,
Yep.
yes.
Whom he impregnated.
Yes.
Okay. They find this out, and he's fired within like an hour, right? 2 hours, something like that, when it comes out. Got it right so far?
Yeah.
So far, yep.
The school may have known, but a little longer.
Okay. Do we know what the staffer did and how old she is?
I'll have to find that out.
Okay, take a look at that. And then tell me, this is where it gets wilder. So after he's fired, Tinfoil, he does what? He goes to his wife's house?
Well, we just found, all we did was we found out that he is arrested. And God bless you. And you go, well, having an affair and getting fired for cause doesn't get you arrested. So, like, what happened? And allegedly, some people are saying that he went to his wife and threatened to kill himself.
Okay, but that's not the end of the story.
Exactly.
From what I read, right?
Yes.
So he goes, this is exposed, he's fired. The exact sequence of events and the timing of it, because it happens all in a very short period of time, right?
Yes.
Is we're still figuring this out. So he gets fired, he goes home, and he threatens to kill himself to his wife.
Yes.
And by the way, this is reporting, or is this in police documents at this point?
I believe so, because they picked him up. He's been arrested, and that's what was in all the statements. Is what's in all the stories.
Okay, but again, to your point, Tinfoil, you don't get arrested for having an affair. You don't get arrested for getting fired. You don't get arrested for threatening to kill yourself.
Right.
You don't get arrested for any of those things.
Right.
So then, do I have this right, by the way? Because I did read it, and my retention right now is compromised. But he then goes to the girlfriend's house?
Yes. So what I read, allegedly he went to the girlfriend's house and was threatening physical violence because he was just crashing out, as the kids would say, not to make light of this. But he was just going through it, and he was just caught red-handed, and he was just losing it, and that was it.
Threatening to kill her.
And himself.
So now he goes from his house threatening to kill himself to the girlfriend's house threatening to kill both of them.
Yeah.
Did he have a weapon?
A knife, I believe.
That's what I thought it was,
allegedly.
a knife. And the reporting was he held the knife to her throat.
That's it. And apparently he was picked up by people from the church because his wife called the church because I don't think she wanted the police involved at first, is what I read. So, which is pretty crazy part of the story.
Just an incredible, sad, scandalous, incredible turn of events on the level that, we've had other, let's stick to the world of sports. We could even stick to college football. We've had other crash outs. Well, we've had other scandals. We've had other affairs. We've had other programs implode on the backs of coaches. Lose it. But I don't know that we've ever had anything this. I keep coming back to that word incredible because by the literal definition of it, it means it seems not credible.
Yes.
It's like mind-blowing. Look, the most famous one that jumps out, the most famous two in my mind that jump out are in the SEC. It is Bobby Petrino
Yes.
at Arkansas, right? And
That picture after the accident.
Yes.
remind me the
neck brace.
motorcycle accident. So
Yeah.
was the motorcycle accident a cover-up for the affair? He legit had that
No,
motorcycle.
he had the motorcycle
He had the
accident.
accident, yeah.
And she was on the back
While
of the bike.
riding with her, yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's how they found out.
Yeah.
And he has the neck brace on. His face is all scratched up. He's at the podium.
Very
You're like,
bad.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's fired. By the way, he's an interesting
2012.
test case.
And he's back.
He's back. Where is Petrino right now? Wasn't he?
He was in Arkansas last year.
He bounced around like, was it Louisville for a bit?
Yeah.
And now he's back.
What's the statute of limitation on those stories? 10 years?
He was also
He was interim coach at Arkansas this year, right?
he was interim at Arkansas, but he was with Jimbo Fisher as OC for his last season, and he was at Louisville.
But nothing Petrino did was criminal.
Right.
This was an affair, embarrassing.
Morality clauses with the school.
Yeah.
Was it in the case of Petrino? Was it a staffer?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a staffer.
By the way, I found out what the Michigan staffer did.
I'm never going to run afoul of the morality clauses, but I'm just curious. Like, is having an affair get you fired, or is the necessity in this equation that it is a staffer?
At a school.
What?
It's college.
Yeah, they're state employees.
That's what I think is different
But having
for
an
me.
affair, does that invoke your morality clause?
I think
Yeah.
I think it can, if you have one.
Yeah, especially with someone. It's a coworker. I think is what the
That seems key.
that's what the deal is.
Yeah.
If you have an affair with your neighbor's wife or something, I don't think it makes a difference. But if it's a staffer, yeah.
But it could. I mean, if it potentially tarnishes the image of the school or something like that, I think
Right.
they could
That
try to
becomes a
make
huge
the argument.
catch-all.
Yeah.
Tarnishing the image.
It's
of
a
the school.
safety issue.
The other one, I think, and you guys may be able to tell me some that are bigger, but the other one I think is Hugh Freeze
Yes.
at
Yes.
Oh my God, I
at the
forgot
time
about
Ole
that.
Miss. And by the way, he came back. I mean, ended up the head coach at Auburn and Liberty. He's just fired this year from Auburn.
That's crazy.
But Hugh Freeze's was prostitution or escorts,
That's illegal.
and yeah. Was school funds involved in that, or was just they found him
He
on?
was using school phone, I believe, and yeah, school funds. I think it was connected to recruiting as well.
What, he was recruiting escorts to play for
Yeah.
Ole Miss?
No, to help with recruiting.
That's insane. Really? Come on.
I think so.
And he got a second chance at
know-
Liberty?
If you're gonna go somewhere for second chances,
Redemption.
it's the real JC.
Speaking of recruiting,
Story.
this Michigan staffer who he had the affair with started as an on-campus recruiting and football operations coordinator, and then was promoted to executive assistant to the head coach in February of 2024.
Ooh.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Now, there are others.
Shortly after Sherrone assumed that position.
I don't remember the details on this at all. And Patrick, you did some research. Mel Tucker at Michigan State was bad, right? What happened with Mel Tucker?
Yeah, there's something about the water in Michigan. So Mel Tucker had an affair, I believe, and was fired for cause. I believe it was with a staffer. So hold on.
Was it just an affair? I thought there was more with Mel Tucker.
There was a. Sorry, hold on. There was.
Violated sexual misconduct policy.
Oh, he had an affair with the lady that they brought in to do
Yes.
sexual violence training.
Yes.
That's
They
like a
brought her
Michael
into the
Scott thing.
school to do sexual violence training for everybody, and he had an affair with her.
Yes. Now that
A
one,
sexual assault prevention speaker.
you do wonder like how much of this plays a role. But like they had just signed him to a very large contract, and he sucked after a year or two. And you wonder if he was winning, would they have fired him? You know.
Well, let's put that test to the scenario, and every case is different. But because, by the way, I think you could probably make a similar argument for Sherrone Moore. Sherrone Moore's details in and of themselves would get anybody fired. It could be Kirby Smart. If this story was about Kirby Smart, he'd be done.
Yeah.
No matter how good
yeah.
you are. But I don't think they're in love with Sherrone Moore.
No.
The results on the field, they're okay with it, but they're not in love with it. So maybe they are. I don't know how Michigan fans feel about Sherrone Moore.
They don't like him.
So this one is always on the list. If you do the list of college football coaching scandals, and I'm going to be upfront with the audience on this, like every single detail of these cases don't come back to me in the moment. And some of these, there's so many machinations and turns in these stories that it becomes like keeping up with, honestly, like the war in Afghanistan over a 20-year period. It's hard to keep up with every single turn in the case. But still, that being said, I think that there is, without all of the details to explain it, I think one of the guys, I'm curious how Dan will feel about this. I think one of the guys that probably got hosed the most in this, both in second chances and redemptions, and to your point of you don't normally get canned if you're doing great, depending on the severity of it, is Art Briles at Baylor.
Yes.
I think Art Briles at Baylor became public enemy number one, so much so that, for example, on the Lebretard show on ESPN, they would play a drop when his name came up, Rot in Hell or something like that, Rest in Hell or something like that, as though Art Briles is the worst man to ever grace college football. And, I did keep up with that case in the beginning enough to know that it began to take on the feeling of a witch hunt. It became to be a virtue signaling story. And that doesn't mean Art Briles didn't do anything wrong. But I promise you, I've been in this business long enough that I know when a story becomes something that in order to show your own virtue as a reporter or commentator, you have to, you don't have to, but you're pushed in a direction of taking a certain position. And that position, by the way, is the popular one. So you're not doing anything to put yourself out there. You're joining the rest of it without critical thought. How about that? Without any critical thought.
And that was during Me Too as well. Those 2016, those, very heavily.
And I can just say, I know that happened without Art Briles. That's not, it's one of those deals where you're like, well, what are you saying? Are you saying that Art Briles is innocent or that he was a great guy? Because that's always going to be the response. No, what I'm saying is on a scale from 0 to 100, everybody took the Art Briles story to 100. And at 100 was the only place you could be. And if you had all said, well, I want to understand the details a little more on this case. Like, did he know about all of the stuff that was going on at Baylor? What did he do? The allegation is not that Art Briles did anything wrong, but that he wasn't coming down on the players, and he was, I think they suggest he was trying to hide it from the administration, which I don't think the evidence is like overwhelmingly true that he did know everything that was going on. You can fact check me on that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it's pretty wild of all the things that all these coaches have done that Briles is the guy that basically doesn't get a second chance. And if he's hired, there is a renewed witch hunt to go, you're the worst program in history. How dare you hire Art Briles?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at some point, some people saw it as more of like a systemic thing instead of just an individual thing. So it's like it's a product of the entire school and system that Art Briles was allowed to, cover this instead of just making a personal decision.
But how about this? There are a lot of programs that have had what you would call systemic issues, okay? And we could go through them, like
Ohio State,
Florida. A lot of people say Georgia right now, to be honest. I'm just meaning because of the number of players who keep getting DUIs.
Lots of arrests.
It's become
Penn
a joke.
State.
How many players at Georgia? It's mainly the drinking and driving thing, right?
Is it really? Just get a car. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's like a running joke where it's like, Georgia players, drive, and it's like GTA clips and stuff like that. Yeah.
And look, I'm not I'm not putting all these things on moral equally playing field. I'm not suggesting that Kirby Smart is doing so. I'm not doing any of that. All I'm saying is I'm talking about Art Briles. And that became one that was not worthy of any form of, forget redemption, even critical thought.
I agree.
I can just hear. I know the commentators that if they heard that, I can hear what they would do and I hear what they would say. But I'll tell you, even rebuttals that I would submit to, like, oh, that's not good. Yeah, Briles said it. I'm still right on the overarching thing. I'm right on this became something more than the facts of the story and has hovered over him for eternity, basically eternity. But those are the big ones. I mean, there's going to be more. It's college football.
Were you at ESPN that covering any of these big ones? Did you do?
I was at ESPN. I can't. Art Briles was more in the outside the lines
Yeah, you're right.
genre. It didn't become like a first take topic a lot.
It was a big enough name.
Well, it's not just that's not a big enough name. It's like, well, what's the other side of it?
Sure.
And quite honestly, talking about some of that stuff is a huge downer. Like, and I was involved in more fun shows.
Yeah.
But anyway, here we are. And this story with Sherrone Moore. I mean, this guy will get no second chance, obviously.
No.
I think his mental health is going to be a real problem. I think he's going to be on a watch for a while, based on what we hear.
What's interesting about that is you know these people from a distance. Obviously, with the career that I've had for the length of time that I have, I've started to get to know some of these people as individuals. But there are still, for me, like you guys or anybody else watching, people who I only know from a distance. One of those would be Sherrone Moore. And from a distance, you don't see any of this. You don't see that potentiality. You don't see that fragility, that edge of crashing out. I mean, that doesn't happen overnight.
No.
That happens like a culmination.
When you
A
see-
volcano doesn't explode out of the blue. It's
When you're backed into a corner and you have no way out.
bubbling. Yeah. So just incredible story out of Michigan. Then we turn to the NFL. Phillip Rivers is back. This is absolutely incredible. I love Phillip Rivers. Do y'all like Phillip Rivers?
Love Phil.
I was in the same church as him once.
Wow. So
Really?
You're basically
Yeah.
You're basically brothers.
Yeah, we went to. He was in Jacksonville playing the Jaguars, and he was sitting in the front row, and the Monsignor was giving his homily.
Wait.
Yeah.
He's in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
He has a game that day?
Yep.
And he goes to church Sunday morning?
Yep.
Wow. That's got to be kind of rare.
Yeah.
Guys I wonder if it was a 1 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually, I mean, we didn't have a lot.
Yeah, you
of,
guys don't get a lot of 3 o'clock kickoffs. 4 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the Monsignor was sitting there, and he was literally giving this homily about how great an example somebody like Phillip Rivers
Was
is.
this early church?
Yeah, it was like 9 or 10. Yeah.
Okay.
And he didn't even realize that Phillip Rivers was there until after the mass. It was really weird, but yeah.
Well, Philip's like you.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately. Philip does have 12 kids, right?
Something like that. I want to say 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And as a grandfather, apparently.
I don't think I've ever interviewed Phillip Rivers.
He has 10.
I know I've 10 kids. I know I've never met him. By the way, the story is the Indianapolis Colts have signed Phillip Rivers to the practice squad. Has he been elevated since I read that to the active?
It doesn't say on the depth chart on ESPN right now.
Okay, so he's not going to necessarily start this weekend, but you don't sign Phillip Rivers not to start before this season is over.
Right.
Sooner rather than later. Like, there's no point, right? Yeah. How old is Rivers, Dan? I'm going to get 41? 42? 44?
Yes.
44.
Ding.
44. Incredible. And I love the videos of how fiery he is. Like, if you don't like Phillip Rivers, I'm going to go, okay, I get it. Like, I've seen the videos.
The clip where he's yelling in his ear.
Oh, he's yelling that dude's ear. He's yelling at the refs. And, like, I get it, But I don't know. I really like the guy. And he is not the first, but he is a grandfather.
Yes.
In the NFL.
That's crazy.
Of those 10 kids, somebody is old enough. Not shocking. At 44, like Philip could have had his first kid. I'm gonna go 20, 21.
He's got some grown kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got another 20-year-old something kid.
Yeah.
Who could have had a kid.
Because I have a 16-year-old at 38,
Yeah, that's wild.
and so, in 6 years she could be.
By the way, Patrick,
20 or 22.
everybody on the television show, the Will Cain television show, you're going to love this compliment. You're going to love this. First of all, they love you. I'm like,
Well, they're great.
I don't understand. No, they're all like the other night when we went to the Christmas party, it's like, where's Patrick? Where's Patrick? Like to escort you to the party.
Oh,
Yeah.
They're all worried about you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like they want to take you under their wing. Like,
well, I'm very broken.
but they said that you look younger than your age.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah. They were like, how old is he? No. And somebody even said 20s. I was like,
Wow.
Patrick Hatton?
Yeah,
Not 20s.
that guy.
Tinfoil Pat? We're talking about the same Patrick? Yeah, man. Young. They think you look younger than your age. How did we get on that? You were talking about your
Philip
kids.
Rivers having kids young.
Yeah. Potentially being a grandfather.
you
I
have a
could potentially be a
16-year-old.
grandfather. And
Oh, you're going to be a grandfather at a
46.
young age. You said, yeah.
I don't know that, but I don't.
6 years.
The problem
from
is
now,
I don't think there are a lot of prospects out there.
For your kids?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
All these boys are very I don't know. They're not very
Maybe it was strict
masculine.
Oh, because your oldest are girls? Or
Yeah,
daughters?
my oldest are daughters. So they're a little turned off by the market, I think.
I mean, I don't think you're 100% wrong. I would
Maybe
hope.
just in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I would hope Jacksonville would offer a greater market, opportunity. But
A lot of rednecks.
there you go. What's wrong with that?
I don't know. I don't really like the poor.
Oh,
Is that a derogatory term?
gosh, what are we doing?
Is that a derogatory term, redneck?
No,
Really?
no,
No, we embrace it.
Okay.
no.
I'm joking, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't want people thinking I'm a classist.
Well,
I'm a man of the people.
it's a little too late.
He's not a classist. He's a populist. So that's
Yeah.
why I know it's a joke.
Yeah.
He's ready for the masses to stand up with their pitchforks.
That's right.
I know that to be true. Philip Rivers is not the first grandfather in the NFL. You have a list of other guys who have played as a grandfather.
That's right. And so the only NFL player I believe that has been a grandfather is Brett Favre. That is confirmed.
Speaking of allegations,
That's another story, by the way, that I'm not completely versed on. I know some
Oh.
of it, yeah.
I covered that.
But in baseball, Stan Musial and Julio Franco. Julio Franco played, I believe, until 47.
Texas Ranger great.
Yeah.
Baseball's different though.
I think you could get. Yeah, I think you could have more grandfathers. There was a whole list of people who potentially could
Yeah.
be grandfathers because baseball is crazy. But then another one was Gordie Howe. He played until his 50s. And
That is incredible.
in hockey, so.
That is incredible.
hard to do, and he was still playing at a high level too.
Maybe I'm too ignorant on hockey because it does happen. Like guys play a little bit like with baseball, where you see some of these pitchers that go into their
Yeah.
40s.
Not as much anymore.
Well, the Russian dude that's one of the greatest of all time.
Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah. How old is he now?
I think he's like my age.
He's
No, he's 40s, I think.
he's older.
Oh wow, he's 40.
Yeah, 40.
I think
He
it's
looks great.
not totally uncommon to see NHL players in their 40s, which is pretty shocking because of all the sports, I would think that one, just the whole physical stamina aspect of it, it's exhausting.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I think you get away
What's
with
an
it
average
with more
shift in
smarts.
hockey? It's like 40 seconds, right?
Yeah, 40. Yeah, a long shift is about 110.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But you can imagine thighs burning.
All
I
out.
mean,
All out.
I used
Yeah.
to play hockey. Yeah,
in Jacksonville, Florida?
yeah. My job was to be an enforcer. I was an enforcer,
That's
and I would stand in front of the net and just block the goaltender's vision.
Oh, offensively, you would get
Yeah.
down low.
I get down low, get some of those chip-in shots right down there.
Those chip-in shots, by the way, if you had that hand-eye coordination, I'm impressed because I'm
No, it took
always
me forever.
shocked how those guys can see those things coming in so fast and redirect.
Yeah, it took me forever to get my first goal though, but eventually you get the hang of it. But I just love gunning for the biggest guy on the other side.
I never played hockey because of the ice times when you're young. Didn't want to do it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, because there's so few rinks.
It's like 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So few
For the
rinks,
young
and for
kids.
everybody to get their ice time, you're practicing at crazy hours.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's tough for that sport. I don't know how these old guys are doing it in hockey, but congratulations to Philip Rivers. He's back for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
He's possibly, because he did 1 year, I think it was, with the Colts.
Yeah.
He's close with Shane Steichen, who was with the Chargers when Rivers was with the Chargers. I think he has a lot of overlap. He knows the offense. It's not going to be starting from scratch. So we could see Philip Rivers on the field. The question is what that means for the Colts. And by the way, the Colts are one of these teams for me that is a complete darling this year. Like, I will root for the Colts. Their turnaround. And by the way, I'm rooting for Daniel Jones. I'm
He's great.
I'm sad for what's happened for Danny Dimes. Blew out his Achilles, done for the season. Leading the Colts to this turnaround after being just totally destroyed reputationally in New York. It's a wonderful feel-good story. Would he be comeback player of the year? I think he's got to be in that. But the thing about Philip Rivers stepping in with the Colts is I think they're 8-5 right now, and
They were falling off a little bit.
a little
Danny.
bit, man. But here's the question right now. Let's just stick with the AFC. Who would you ride to the Super Bowl? Where would you place your bet? Right now, the Patriots are far and away, record-wise, the best team, right? The Jags are up there.
They're getting hot.
They're getting real hot. The Broncos have a great record. But if you think about this, I think all of those are good teams.
Oh, the Texans too.
And the Texans are hot.
Very great defense.
Yeah.
Patriots aren't a good team.
Okay, so the Texans, I was listening to some guys on radio talk about this. We've become accustomed to the Texans losing on the first Saturday of Wild Card Weekend. This is like the Texans story, right? They lose in that 1 o'clock window game on Saturday of Wild Card Weekend. But functionally, the Texans are almost indistinguishable from the Broncos, who will be the 1 or 2 seed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Patriots will probably be the 1 seed, but the Broncos are in the running. Meaning, they both have great defenses. They both have a quarterback that is good, but makes you think, can I really trust Bo Nix to take me on a deep playoff run?
Playing great.
And so would you rather have C.J. Stroud or Bo Nix right now?
Bo Nix,
Whoa, really?
hands down. C.J. Stroud's been looking a little rough. He had a great season last year, but he's kind of fallen off a little bit. He's making bad decisions. His arm doesn't look as good. It's tough.
I don't know.
I'd rather have Bo Nix with Sean Payton. I think that's the thing. I'd rather have Sean Payton as a quarterback guru.
If you look at fantasy,
What a fantasy.
far above
Well, he
and
doesn't
away.
look at fantasy
I'm
anymore.
out. I'm in 3 leagues, including ours, obviously. I missed the playoffs in all 3. By the way, I
busy
was
guy.
the guy who just got bumped out in all of them. I wasn't bottom. If in our league it
Bridesmaid.
was 6 teams that made the playoffs, I came
Yeah.
in 7th. It's like that in every single league. One of them, I had the same record as the team that made the playoffs, but I had fewer
That
points.
reminds me, I need to text Smug real quick.
Okay, but the point stands. Okay, we should take a moment and go. How about the Chiefs? Like, the Chiefs aren't going to be in the playoffs. Like, what are the odds right now the Chiefs make the playoffs? I think it's fairly low,
Very low.
which is incredible. But if you take the Texans, who could be like the 7 seed in the playoffs,
Yeah.
and the Broncos, who could be the 2 seed in the playoffs, I think no matter what you think, Dan, on the quarterback, that's not a big spread. That game, it would be in Denver, obviously. It's not a big spread. It's a tight game, and you can go pretty deep saying, I don't know. There's no dominant team
No.
at all. Now, I'm sure to the extent that we have people listening to us in New England, they'd be freaking out. But New England, Denver, Jacksonville, help me out, Pittsburgh,
The Chargers,
the Chargers,
who are down a bunch of offensive linemen.
the Bills are in the and that's
Bills.
Bills
let's come back
9-4.
to the Bills in a minute. And you look at that, and by the way, I'm a believer in Drake May. I think this Drake May story is awesome. I'm a believer in Mike Vrabel. I think Vrabel is a great coach. I don't know that I'm ready to say, wow, we've got a new dominant team in the AFC with the Patriots. I still think Josh Allen is right there with Patrick Mahomes as the 2 best quarterbacks, at least in the AFC, maybe in the NFL. And so I would be worried about any team that gets the Bills in the playoffs. But the rest of that Bills team,
Yeah.
you're like, there's no way you can put your money on the
Patriots'
Bills.
schedule is weak.
You think the Patriots are frauds?
Absolutely. I do. I mean, look who they've beaten. They just beat the Giants. Terrible team. They just beat the Bengals, sans Joe Burrow. They beat the Jets. They beat the Bucks, who are pretty good. They beat the Falcons, Browns, Titans, Saints. Those are their last games. So, I mean, Drake May's good. They're a decent team, but they're not beating great teams out there for the season. They beat the Panthers.
It's wide open, is the point.
Yeah.
It's wide open in the AFC. You go over to the NFC, and this could be wishful thinking for me, but I do feel like the Eagles might be imploding. Now, the Cowboys can make the playoffs. They have by winning the division, but they're going to have to run the table. 4 games left. They have to win them all. If they win them all, the Eagles would have to lose one more game, I think.
Yeah.
And the Eagles have Washington twice, the Giants, and somebody else that's pretty tough. Oh, the Bills. I think they have the Bills. I think that's right. This Eagles thing with the way they played last week, and specifically the way that Jalen Hurts played, that's the problem I'm getting at with the Eagles, because this has all been bubbling all season where A.J. Brown and other players have been going at Jalen Hurts, and then he turns the ball over 5 times, 2 times on one play. How is that possible? He throws an interception. The guy that intercepts it fumbles the ball. Hurts gets it back. Then Hurts fumbles the ball.
Now, I heard this is the only time this has ever happened in NFL history, and I failed to believe that. There's had to have happened another time, right?
I mean, the probability of the quarterback throwing interception and then being the guy that recovers a fumble can't be high.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's just crazy.
So I think there's a chance the wheels come off this Eagles thing. And even if the wheels don't come off, I don't think they're not trustworthy.
There's only one team winning the NFC.
The Rams?
That's right.
Yeah. So I was backing my way into this.
sorry.
I do think the Rams.
Yeah, way to go.
And I think the Rams might be one of the most underrated, consistently good teams, at least in the last 20 to 30 years. I don't think about the Rams a lot. No. I'm not intimidated by the Rams. Matt Stafford and Sean McVay deserve way more credit.
Crazy.
Way
He's
more
going to get
credit.
MVP.
I've always thought Stafford was great. I think I've been one of the guys that's argued that Stafford is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I don't think one Super Bowl victory gets you in there, but Stafford was really good in Detroit for all those years.
Think about this. So Puka was on pace to, I think, get almost 2,000 yards this season. It would put him number 1 all time. The 3 best seasons for wide receiver: Calvin Johnson, it would be Puka, and then Cooper Kupp. And who were their quarterbacks?
Matt Stafford.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
That's
insane.
wild. Yeah.
Dude feeds his guys.
Well, think about what Puka Nakua's stats would be, because I had Puka in fantasy.
Yeah.
If Devontae Adams weren't there.
I
Yes.
know.
Because he started loving
Loves the
Devontae
Cooper
Adams.
Kupp
He was
thing.
feeding Devontae Adams. He does that, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's pretty wild that he does that, because you would think a defense would adjust and he'd get in trouble. Like he's forcing the ball into his guy, but he doesn't.
No.
If you should draft Matt Stafford's number 1 receiver, number 1 in fantasy.
Yes.
You will be rewarded.
Yes.
You're right. Kupp.
That was very smart.
I picked up Stafford by just as a thing, like at the last minute. He's been my best player by far.
So I do think the Rams. I think it's a little bit like the AFC's Buffalo Bills situation. Like I think that the Lions are better than where they sit in the playoff standings. I think everybody should be a little bit in fear of the Lions if you meet them in the playoffs. I think the Lions.
Are you scared of the Bears?
Packers are better than the Lions.
Okay. All right.
Were you scared of the Bears?
Not at all.
I'm not.
Not at all.
I don't trust Caleb
We
Williams.
just beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
We with the Packers.
Yeah.
He was out there.
We with the Packers and the Yankees.
And the Lakers.
Notre Dame and the Lakers.
I don't like the Lakers.
I'm just joking.
I'm a Knicks fan and a Rangers fan.
That was establishment James. He's a Lakers fan.
Yeah, so I mean the NFC is slightly more predictable. I mean, when I say predictable, you would put your money on the Rams.
Sure.
But I think this is wild. We talked a long time about, parity and dominant teams. I don't see with the decline of the Chiefs, I don't see another dynasty on the horizon right now in the NFL. I think they sneak up on you often, but
I thought if anybody was going to do it, it was going to be the Eagles because they just have so much talent and they're able to always identify such.
Saquon was a little quiet this year.
Yeah, but I think Hurts is just really not helping that situation.
I do think the Cowboys. I don't think the Cowboys are Super Bowl level. I think they make the playoffs. They could be a problem for some people.
Sure. Great offense.
Could be disruptors.
Yeah. Well, that Quinn Williams trade has turned out to be amazing.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
And it's a lesson about getting those kinds of guys off of bad teams. Like playing defensive tackle is such a grind. To do that on a team that constantly stinks, maybe you shouldn't be evaluated in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put him on a team where he has some actual support and help and a chance to win, and all of a sudden you see one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL. All right, so it's wide open, and your grandpa, Phillip Rivers, is there to ride in and save the Colts. Okay, this has been a fun week in New York City this week. I'm ready to go home and rest. I am ready to go home and rest.
I'm not ready.
You love it, Pat?
I don't want to go back on the plane.
You should drive back down.
All right, good stuff. Thank you for hanging out with us this week in New York City. We'll see you again next week.